But don't look in your rearview mirror, here comes number 8. He's a rocker and a roller, and he shows us how to shut him down. I guess he runs independent until my daddy's back in town. Yeah, I guess he runs independent until my daddy's back in town. Bad boy, stand on it, son.
And welcome to the Nasboys podcast. Now, did you know that the largest starting field in a NASCAR sanctioned event was a modified sportsman race at Daytona Beach in 1953, which consisted of 136 cars? Kyle Owens won the event. The most in an actual Cup Series race was 82 in the 1951 Southern 500. So anyways, guys, welcome to the Nasboys podcast. I'm your host, Mike, a.k.a. Mike Bob Fan 101, with my good friend and co-host, Christian, a.k.a. Savage NASCAR.
What's up, guys? Hope you're all having a great week.
Yes, so let's get started with the video. We're going to start off recapping Talladega for all three series. Christian, you were actually there at the weekend, so please tell us how it was.
One of my books just fell down. Bad diving down.
That's got to be a blooper.
Wow. So, as you're saying, what was the question? I was so distracted by
How was your weekend at Talladega?
My weekend? Oh, man. It was an amazing weekend, I will say. It was very incredible to get to witness history. I was just bugged by the rain multiple times. It rained a lot when I was down there. I did not expect it to rain almost every day I was there. And there was more people there on Saturday than Monday. And Sunday, a lot of people were there. But, of course, it got postponed to Monday. So I had to change plans a little bit and be like, ask off work and everything. So I had to move everything back a day. But yeah, I got back just the other day and I didn't get unpacked until today. It's just been really crazy week and it was really fun, I'll say. I mean, got to go around and sit at different parts of the track during the races, but it was just a great atmosphere. And the internet and signal was pretty bad, though, I will say. It was pretty bad down there, so it's hard to communicate with people.
Right. I can imagine how fun that would be. You're lucky to go to my favorite track. But, yeah. So let's get started with the recap. We're going to start off with the truck race. What did you think?
The truck race, in my opinion, was the best race this weekend. I really enjoyed that race. We saw a lot of passing. There's 4 wide, 3 wide some points in that incredible finish.
Leads with Fogelman third, and they're wrecking behind them. Still green, coming to the end.
They're still green, and Nemechek makes a move to the inside.
To the bottom, John Hunter Nemechek getting a push, trying to make it to the line. Fogelman is behind him. Fogelman wants to make a move. Can Tate Fogelman do it?
Oh.
He wrecks Nemechek, and it's Fogelman. Tate Fogelman wins.
Wow, and the truck is now destroyed. Oh. Who put the start-finish line down where they did here at Talladega? Because it just gives you so much extra time to thrash things.
Bill France Sr. did that because he wanted to sell more tickets down that way. He said, let's put the start-finish line there.
That's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I did not think Tate Fogelman had a chance there. He got involved in a wreck earlier. There was a big wreck that took out about 19 cars, if I'm correct, towards the end of that race, and there's another.
Out of the lead draft sometimes causes an accident as well. These guys aren't as experienced as you Cup guys. The communication sometimes isn't.
Oh, there it is. It's Austin Hill and Zane Smith.
It's going to be more too, Vince.
Wow. The big one.
More and more trucks just keep piling in. There is nowhere to go now. And you can't even go through the grass because it'll just rip the splitter off. Oh!
Sauter involved in that one as well. I think it's going to be easier to tell you who wasn't involved. It looks like Ben Rhodes. And
big crash towards the end, and then that incredible dash to the finish. Tate Fogelman took out John Hunter Nemechek to get his first career win. It was so crazy. Like, I was in shock. Everyone was in shock. Just everyone crashing. It was like a wreck fest there at the end, but it was a great race though. Overall, it was probably the best truck race I've seen at Talladega or at a super speedway, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought the race was pretty good. It started out just being, like a typical truck race at Talladega, which that's a point that I'm probably going to make a lot because a lot of the racing was like typical, in my opinion. But except for the finish, like the finish, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that was typical. That was amazing. I was on a call with some people in a Discord server that I'm in, and there was a guy that was like really far behind the finish. So he was like, "Everybody mute yourself." So we all muted ourselves. And he's over there like, "Oh, okay, John Hunter," when John Hunter took the lead. And everybody else in the call that muted themselves was just like, "Oh my God! Oh my God!" I can imagine. Then everybody just had like this delayed reaction, but not me. Just watching it, I don't really know what to say. It looked like Tate was trying to avoid going on the double yellow line, and he just came up and just became a menace to society and wrecked John Hunter. But that was awesome. I'm glad that we saw someone different win, and especially a first-time winner. So congratulations to Tate. That's really, really cool.
John Hunter was taking people out too. I mean, he about wrecked Matt Crafton at one point, and Crafton was pretty upset about that and gave him a run in. And after race, gave him a thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? Slap on the rear end, which was.
I don't know what he's mad about. He's old man, so whatever. But just unfortunate.
And Crafton is not pleased with the way things have shook out for him today. And here's what I'm talking about from earlier. And you can believe there was some sarcasm in that. That thumbs up. It's always better the thumbs up than the other finger, right?
Yeah. That wasn't your typical like baseball like pat on the rear like, hey, good job. That was the
thumbs up might as well been the other finger.
Thanks for jacking me around all day there, bud.
Down there with Matt Crafton, Jamie.
Well, Matt Crafton, we saw him walk up behind John Hunter during that interview. Little swat to the backside. What was that for? What are you upset about?
Stage 2, off turn 2, we're there at the end. Hits me coming off the corner. He's smarter than that. I mean, you can't. I mean, I'm fine getting hit going down the straightaway or straight points, but not off the corner and off the corner again. But what comes around goes around sometimes, you know. At the end of the day, these guys brought me a very fast Menards Toyota Tundra. Like I said, thank them for all their hard work, and we'll go on to Martinsville.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Kind of sus, but we moved.
I know. I watched that. And I'm like, that's sus, Matt. What are you doing? So yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid race. So now let's take a look at what you guys had to say. 7 of you said great. 2 of you said good. None of you said meh/okay, and none of you said bad. Henry24257 says, "Holy heck, Tate Fumbleman won. 10 out of 10." He meant Tate Fumbleman. I know. And here's what you guys had to say about the finish. Spence.fresh says, "The finish was the best thing that's happened in a long while for a truck race." I can agree with that.
Yeah, I have to agree with that too.
Ben Danush, I don't know. __ says, "Suck it, Nemechek." So, driver of the day is nobody. Who do I give it to? I mean, I'll give it to Tate Fogelman for winning, I guess. Yeah, he hasn't. I would have given it to Nemechek because he was up in the front a lot, but I feel like being different and giving it to Tate Fogelman.
It's really difficult to choose because we saw Todd Gilliland up front almost the entire race. He led a lot of laps. Todd Gilliland did. We saw Austin Hill up there, and then Hill got taken out with that wreck with Zane Smith. I have a picture of that. Mike put it on the screen. And yeah, it's just really hard to choose who the driver of the day is, but I guess I have to give it to Tate as well.
Yeah, I forgot about Todd dominating that much in the race. He was up front for most of the race, even when he wasn't in the lead. So, all right. So now let's talk about the Xfinity Series race. What did you think of it?
I thought the Xfinity race was pretty solid. It wasn't as exciting as the Cup or the truck race, but it wasn't bad either. There were some points where it wasn't exciting, and there were some points where it was really exciting. And I was quite surprised by like 20 laps go in stage 1 and stage 2, where the guys are going 3 and 4 wide and getting really aggressive. It was just like we were all waiting for the big one at one point. We were just like, oh man, we could see it coming. But there wasn't really any big wrecks. There was a couple incidents and accidents, but nothing too major. And we saw Noah Gragson, a contender, get taken out.
25 laps to go, 66 miles left, and we got a crash! Oh! Hard contact. Noah Gragson head on into the outside wall.
And Brendan Brown got his first career win. So that was really cool to see. It's crazy because we talked last episode about drivers that deserve to get their first career win, drivers we want to see get their first career win. And every single race this weekend, a driver got their first career win. So that was really awesome to see. It was also the first time in history has happened in NASCAR. And I was very blessed to be able to witness it. And I'll say that the Xfinity race, I'll probably give it like maybe a 6 out of 10 rating, to be honest with you. I was quite frustrated about the way they ended it because they ran like 5 caution laps. And we were all weighing like, are they going to go back to green or are they just going to call it? And they decided to call it after 5 caution laps. They went around 5 times and then decided to call it. So we were like, man, you probably just could have called it then after the wreck happened instead of just another 5-10 minutes. But it is what it is. What about you?
I agree with your point where they could have waited, but I still think it was really cool that Brandon Brown won. I'll get more into that in a minute, but I mean, I liked the race. Don't get me wrong. I like most restrictor plate races or super speedway races, but I don't like the Xfinity Series super speedway package where they're just bumping for 2 seconds. They're not tandeming, which I don't know. I just don't like it. I think that it's better with them tandeming, but I get since the cars are kind of different than the cup cars and the trucks that there could be more danger behind it. So I understand it. But
yeah, they made that rule last year. I think they said they couldn't lock bumpers for more than 2 seconds.
Yeah, but I mean, I still thought it was a solid race. Congratulations to Brandon Brown. If anybody deserved to win, it was definitely him. This guy has been through so much in the Xfinity Series, from being a small team from Virginia, to making a video about just asking for sponsorship.
Race fans, this is incredibly tough to talk about, but I do know that there are going to be races that I'm going out unsponsored, nobody in the car is going to be blank. And I'm bringing the deal to you here at Brandonville Motorsports. You can come on down to the number 68 where we're first sale. You can see your company right here on this 68 Chevy Camaro Hot Rod. Are you tired of spending your company's hard-earned dollar on some of these garbage advertisements? Pow! Come on down where the 68 works for you. We got quarter panels. We got deck lids. We got C-posts. You can sponsor my rear end. So come on down to Brandonville Motorsports where we have the fire deal and we'll take care of you.
To now, he's got some sponsorship behind him, and for him to be able to win a race and even be a contender with a team that you would not expect to contend is amazing. And I was so happy for him, and his reaction was amazing. But it got overshadowed by chants of F Joe Biden. I don't have an opinion on that, but I feel bad that it kind of got overshadowed because of how happy he was, because all of a sudden you just hear him go, yes, it's a dream come true. And then all of a sudden you hear F Joe Biden. So
yeah, I don't get it, man. Like, I mean, I was there. I didn't hear them chant it because we were going out to the parking lot, but there was a lot of people there that were, trying to bring politics into it. Unfortunately, I will say, we'll talk about the Cup race. I heard some things that some people were saying about Bubba winning. There were some people that didn't like Bubba Wallace winning, and some that did. But one thing I thought was cool too, if I'm correct, Brandon Brown's the owner driver.
Yeah, he
I know
is.
the crew chief is Doug Randolph. So it's cool to see Randolph win too. And I was going to say as well that Yeah, my brain just went dead again. Sorry.
Yeah, he is an owner driver. He owns Brandon Brown Motorsports. Like I said, just incredible. I'm sad that it got overshadowed.
I remember what I was going to say. Justin Haley, I picked him to win, and this really frustrated me and like some of the people that were there. Why would you get penalized for having your decal too big on your hood? Like,
I did not hear about that.
Like, he got penalized for something about like it was either something about his decal on his roof or hood. I thought it was so stupid.
But
so basically,
Stenhouse had his decal weird too, and they didn't penalize him.
Yeah, so basically Haley had to start in the back, and he went a lap down, but came back and finished in the top 10. He's my driver of the day.
Yeah, that's a pretty dumb penalty. I didn't hear about that, probably because I was getting last episode ready. I'll give driver of the day. Justin Haley's a good pick, so I might do that. But Brandon Brown, just to spice things up a little bit, since it was his first win, and I mean he played his cards right with the darkness thing, which again is stupid. Which also leads to the question of, should Talladega have lights?
My thing is, right, with Talladega, people have to consider the fact with the electricity amount. When I was there, I didn't realize how poor the signal was, and you couldn't use social media there unless you were in your seat. Not everything would work. So basically, outside the track, you had like no signal to the next town, which is like another 30 minutes away. And then Talladega, the city of Talladega, they have electricity, their own electric and all that. With the track, however, there's just not enough electricity to have lights at the moment, I will say. They do have pretty good internet signal, like in the garage area, and for what they need in regarding the race. But outside of it, there's just no way. And I know some people have brought this up and talked about this in videos, but they just don't have enough electricity or space available to have lights right now. But it would be cool to see, because the races, it was getting dark there around 6 o'clock Central Time.
Right. Personally, I think most of the tracks, especially the tracks that host two races, should have lights, but I understand with costs that's not going to work, or space on the track. So I would like to see a Talladega night race, but if they just can't feasibly do it, then that's perfectly fine, because it's all up to the promoters, obviously, not up to the fans.
I was quite surprised that AJ Allmendinger got taken out early in a wreck. I got a picture of his car outside the track before the Cup race. But yeah, he was a contender. He was up there. We saw some guys we thought that would be contenders kind of fall back. If I'm correct, not Mike Snyder, but Sam Mayer got taken out in a wreck again.
Cindric hit him. That's going to slow that top lane down. Oh, we've got a crash. Caution's out. The 8 car, Sam Mayer. Also the 16. AJ Allmendinger. Where was the 16? I didn't even see him in the lead group. And here he comes into this accident.
02, check out the 8, we'll wipe them into us.
02.
Oh, cool.
Possibly making contact with Sam Mayer. Some big contact right here with Sam Mayer. We talked about young driver. Needs some experience here. Oh, there it is, 4 wide. Yeah, 4 wide. But Moffitt made it 4 wide, then like Mayer may have looking for some hit. Yeah, looking for some racing room. I can't tell who that black and pink car is.
That's exactly right. That's the one that there was contact. The 02 made it 4 wide. What a hit.
Yeah, huge hit. And Allmendinger came in here pretty good in the points, but that's big damage right there. He is going to get very few points today.
We saw Josh Murray was up there for a bit, but I think he was involved in a wreck. It's just, yeah. So there was.
Allgaier was too. Austin Cindric.
Yeah.
Typical guys you would expect. But let's take a look at what you guys had to say. 7 of you said great. 2 of you said good. None of you said meh/okay, and none of you said bad. Henry24257 says, Another first-time winner. Holy cow. And Rayan_Nate3 says Brandon Brown winning. And the driver of the day is Brandon Brown, which we already made our picks. Now let's talk about the Cup race. What did you think?
I was disappointed that the race got postponed Sunday, but it was for a good reason. At first I was a little frustrated about it, but then we didn't. I would say a lot of people didn't expect to see what happened Monday happen, and it was God's will, because Sunday, a lot of people, I would say, were pretty upset because they couldn't make it to the race Monday, which is understandable. People came from all 50 states. We saw people that would have to go back to work on Monday. People had to go back to school on Monday as well. I was saying with Bubba and Mick's family, and Bubba couldn't make it on Monday because work wouldn't let him off, which it would be kind of cool to see Bubba there. Bubba got to see Bubba win. Nevertheless, it was great race Monday. I was surprised that it took that long for the big one to happen, and there was so much anticipation. Like, even though there wasn't as much people there, the crowd was still getting involved, and we were quite happy to see them finally get going. It was sunny, but we saw the first rain delay going to happen. We saw the rain coming, and it went towards turns 1 and 2, which is kind of cool. When you're at Talladega, you can kind of see far away towards the hills. You can see when rain's coming. So whenever the first rain delay was happening, we're like, oh, it might be just a little bit. It might not be very long, which it wasn't. They were able to get the track dry in turns 1 and 2, and they got back going. And there was one part of the race where it rained in the stands, but it didn't rain on the track, which is kind of cool. And then there was going to be another rain shower coming, but they were able to make it past halfway. And before the halfway mark, if I'm correct, it was before the halfway mark was when the big wreck happened. Stenhouse Jr., Recky Stenhouse, got into the back of Bowman, and
big wiggle out of Christopher Bell. Up in the wall. Alex Bowman into the wall. Ross Chastain caught up in the 42. The 19 of Mark Truex Jr. also involved.
Try to keep it rolling.
The 18, Kyle Busch, also spinning.
There was. I mean, I could sort of see Elliott maybe played a role in that, because he kind of was pushing Stenhouse a little hard, but just super speedway racing ended up in wreck, taking out more Hendrick guys, and Hendrick's right now on the edge. After this whole season of Hendrick dominating, Bowman might miss it. Byron might miss the next round. Kyle Larson got in a wreck, and he's struggling. He had a blown tire as well. And then Chase Elliott, he's not far above the cut line either. So this race just kind of changed things. I thought Harvick should be up more in the points because he led a good bit in that race, but he's not. Yeah, it's just a lot of surprises. And Bubba Wallace, he worked himself up there. He earned that win. He fought hard. He was able to hold them off before the final caution came out, and he got the win. They had that delay, and then I went down towards the finish line and towards basically the tri-oval area to go along beside the fence to see the celebration. During the rain delay, I got to see some talk to other fans. So yeah, it was just really incredible to see. I was happy for Bubba Wallace. As I mentioned, if I'm correct, I mentioned this in the last episode. I'm not really a Bubba Wallace fan, but I really was hoping to see him win one day, and he did. And it was just very awesome to get to see that person. And also his crew chief, Woody Barker. I don't think he's won before in his career as a crew chief. So to see him get that is really awesome as well. He went on his wheelchair. He was trying to get a ride around on the pace car afterwards. But yeah, it's just really awesome to see.
Yeah, Booty used to be the crew chief for Casey Mears, so winning's not really something he's too familiar with. But it was a good race. Obviously it was on a Monday, and Monday races are usually just so different. But I was surprised with the size of the crowd. Like to me, I couldn't tell too much because it was on TV, but it still looked like a pretty
Yeah.
solid crowd, almost a sellout. So that's great to see. But
It was.
yeah, it was mostly a good race, typical Talladega races. The normal players were up in the front with a couple of differences, such as Bubba Wallace and Kevin Harvick, where it's usually more up in the front, so they could be identifying themselves as better plate racers. But I thought it was. I really did think it was a good race. I wish that they didn't call the race, but congratulations to Bubba. I guess he played his cards right. He got up to a good position to the point where he can stay up front. I know that there's not a lot of people who are huge Bubba Wallace fans or don't like him. I'm not the biggest fan of Bubba Wallace, and I wanted to see if Joey Logano could pass him with Brad Keselowski's help, but it just wasn't meant to be. The rain came down, but one thing that was kind of sad is you can dislike Bubba Wallace all you want. Like I've said before, I don't really like him that much, and I wasn't really too happy that he won. But there were so many people who were being racist, why did Bubba Blackman Wallace have to win? And oh, Bubba Wallace won, it's rigged, NASCAR's woke, blah 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 blah. It just makes you sound stupid. You can not like the guy all you want, but don't bring his skin color into it. I don't like him because of things that he's done in the past, such as throwing water on Bowman.
Yeah, we saw that exhaustion after the race. Something else we saw, it appeared some tempers flaring between Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace, showing you what was happening after the race is Alex Bowman catching his breath.
Talking badly to fans and just being upset a lot of the times when he wrecks and not talking to reporters. I just don't like that much. But other than that, I don't have too much of a problem with him besides that. But
sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's a couple more interesting things I want to add. One of them or two of them's really funny, but I don't know if it'll be funny to you, Mike, since you're a Penske fan. But whenever so Sunday I had an umbrella and it got stolen on Saturday, so I was trying to find a rain poncho. On Sunday it was just pouring rain. It was still really packed Sunday, even though it was raining and there's possibility it was just going to get moved. So basically, I went to these tents farther outside track past the International Motorsports Hall of Fame, and they were selling ponchos there. And the only ponchos I could find was Team Penske and Maine University ponchos. And the guy was trying to get me to buy the Penske one. I said, "I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not a Penske fan. I'm going to go with Maine." So I got the Maine one for $5. All right. And it was all blue. It had a bear logo on it. I don't know if I have a picture of it, but if I do, I'll send it to you, Mike, to put in the video. But that was kind of interesting. Also, on Monday, when we were going there, we were surprised that the parking lot was still almost full when we were getting there. Someone drove their Jeep into a ditch and couldn't get out, almost flipped it. We saw it was just so muddy Monday, especially even after the race ended. We were just soaked and drenched. It was just a mud fest in the parking lot. It's pretty miserable trying to get out of there on Monday. And one other thing too, whenever they announced Bubba Wallace won the race, there were some happy fans along the fence. I was there videoing, and this one guy up at the top, I think he was wearing Logano's shirt actually. He said something about Bubba Wallace, and one of the Bubba fans turned around and said, "How does it feel being in second?" But yeah, that's just all I have to add.
I mean, I've noticed a lot of the divide because while there were fans who were just being plain stupid and or racist, there were also fans making good points, such as NASCAR is over celebrating the win because they've made 15 posts about it already. Yes, we know Bubba Wallace won. Thank you very much. I'm sorry.
McDonald's changed their whole profile picture to Bubba Wallace or something, I think, on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that.
Well,
but
To be fair, their curse got broken, so I can understand that.
Like McDonald's, it ended the drought. The last time they won a race was 1994, I think. The McDonald's sponsored.
But yeah, there were fans like making good points, like, oh, why don't the other guys get this much of a celebration for their wins? And oh, like why is Bubba Wallace getting posted 10,000 times? Which I'm one of those people who's like, okay, we get it. Bubba Wallace won. Let's move on with our week. Get ready for the Whirlpool. All right, now let's take a look at what you guys had to say about the Cup race. 6 of you said great. 3 of you said good. 3 of you said meh/okay, and none of you said bad. Henry24257 says, an okay race. Mother Nature sucks. Agreed.
Agreed.
And Bubba surprisingly won. 5 out of 10. Just the fact that it wasn't a normal Dega. I mean, I wouldn't rate it a 5 out of 10, but at the same time, I understand your point that it wasn't like a normal Dega. Like, we didn't see really anybody flip. The big one took forever until like the second stage. So, but the
racing them.
Yeah, exactly. Like the big one shouldn't make or break Talladega races. I thought it was a great race. Like it had me on the edge of my seat whenever someone would make a move. I was like, oh God, don't wreck.
There was a couple close calls. Like, I mean, that race had a lot of passing in it too. Like for me, it was like an 8 out of 10 race, 8.5 out of 10 race.
And the driver of the day is Anthony Alfredo, which is an interesting pick. He got his first top 10. I don't think I'd give him driver of the day, but
that's a little bit of a stretch there.
That's cool that he got his first top 10. He ran a great race.
Oh man, like for me, the driver of the day is really hard to choose because we saw Brad Keselowski up there for a good bit. We saw Denny Hamlin up there for a good bit. Kevin Harvick up there for a good bit. Bubba Wallace is there at the end. It's really hard to choose. Mike, would you want to go first about this one?
I think it's between Kevin Harvick and Bubba Wallace. Kevin, because for the most part he was up in front and I thought he was actually going to win the race. And Bubba, because he made the good enough move to stay in the front.
For the memes, I want to say the drop of the day is Ricky Stenhouse. I mean, he was up there putting out a great performance on the track. He did cause that one big wreck, but he was up there for most of the race. He was really fast. He also had the fastest lap out of any driver in that race. So, driver day is the 47.
All right. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on with lol cal of the week. Why not? We'll do this. Lol cal of the week in the trucks. John Hunter Nemechek for almost wrecking Matt Crafton. Lol cal in Xfinity, Brett Moffitt. He apparently was blocking too much and also caused a wreck by pushing Jeb Burton. And lol cal for Cup. I got to go Chase Elliott for pushing Ricky Spinhouse into Bowman.
I mean, I could sort of see that.
Christian.
I could sort of see that. I'm wearing the Chase Elliott hat, I will say, but Elliott did play a little bit of a role in that wreck, I will say. And took out his teammate.
Yeah. So, yeah. One more thing I want to mention about the Talladega race. Jordan Anderson had a great day. He finished 11th in the truck race and 5th in the Xfinity race. So that's great to see from a small team. Love seeing these small teams doing well at Talladega. So now let's get started with talking about some news. First off, I don't know whether I want to say my condolences or just report on it, but John West Townley over the weekend was shot and killed in Athens, Georgia. And a lot of people were saying, like, rest in peace, of course. But then it was found out that he was actually going over there with a hatchet to go and attack his ex-wife and her new boyfriend or husband. So I don't know. That's strange.
Yeah, it is strange. I was quite surprised to find the news out. I don't remember when I found this out. I think I found this out Saturday night or Sunday or something like that. But I remember, as you said, people were saying rest in peace, John West Townley. They're making posts about it. I didn't say anything. I mean, one, also is because my signal was pretty bad, but two, I didn't know what the whole situation was. For those that don't know, John West Townley is also son of I think one of Zaxby's founders or owners. And basically, yeah, like you said, he arrived at his ex-wife's house with the axe and was planning to kill her, and then he got shot. It's nothing we like to talk about on the podcast, but it is news. It is something unfortunate that did happen. Thankfully, his wife was, I think his wife was all right. I know that the guy that shot Townley, his name was, from what this article was Anderson. I don't know his first name. It says that Laura Townley got shot too, so I'm guessing, yeah, so his ex-wife got shot too. Wow.
Yeah,
So,
but she's expected to be all right, and
yeah.
I don't really know what to say about that. So
Back in 2019, Townley also was charged with 3 misdemeanor counts. So there was he could have been abusive before too. So it's just crazy, It's just I didn't expect that.
Grant Infinger will be racing with GMS, which I'm glad to see him getting a full-time ride. I think he deserves it. I don't know why Thor Sport made room for Eckes. I mean, Eckes is a good driver, but I don't know why they kicked Grant out. So I'm glad Grant found a ride, and it's actually solid.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I was surprised that Infinger's moving on from that team. I feel like they should have kept him.
Next up, we got Michael Annett is retiring from the Xfinity Series, which that's pretty great because he hasn't been performing the best, and it leaves more room for a driver who can drive the car. So I'm kind of glad. Congratulations, Michael.
Well, my thing is right. It's sort of sad to see him retire, but at the same time, it's his choice. And he felt like he had to put other interests and other needs in first before his own, and before driving and racing in the Xfinity Series. And that's been in the NASCAR Xfinity Series for a long time. I was there for his first career win at Daytona in 2019. He's someone that was one of my favorite drivers in the Xfinity Series, not one of my top 3 or 5, but someone I really enjoyed watching. So it is kind of sad to see him retire, but I was surprised by it. But he's also been dealing with injuries, so it is what it is. So, yeah.
It was his time, in my opinion. That can be used for Mayer or Barry. I know Barry's going to have a full-time ride, but yeah. Ricky Spinhouse or Ricky Stenhouse to return to JTG. I'm not sure if we reported this last episode, but he is. I think this is a good move for them because he's performed decent for them.
He's been performing all right, not great, but at the same time, what do you expect? He's in the 47.
Strong points are restrictor plates.
Yeah, I mean he's clearly really good at super speedways, but other tracks he just struggles on so much, like the short tracks. Occasional, some of the 1.5-mile tracks he struggles at too, like Darlington, or Darlington's a 1 mile. But, there's a couple 1.5-mile tracks he struggled at. And I feel like they had no really other choice but to keep him.
Exactly. NASCAR has indefinitely suspended Young Motorsports 02 truck crew chief Eddie Traconis for a non-racing violation of behavioral policy under the rule of physical altercation with NASCAR official, media members, fans. That's interesting. I've never heard of a crew chief getting into a fight with any of those. I'm not sure what happened because I didn't hear about it until Monday or Tuesday. So, yeah, pretty interesting. I don't really have too much of an opinion on it.
I didn't know about this until you told me, so it's quite surprising. We don't have too much information on this, but we'll probably learn more as the days go by.
Yeah. All right, so now let's talk about paint scheme review.
Woo, paint schemes. Let's roast some more, Mike.
We're going to start off with the AJ Allmendinger car that you mentioned earlier, his Goldfish Casino slots. I'm going to be honest, when I first heard about this on TV, I thought it was Goldfish with a different logo, like Goldfish the Cracker. So
yeah, same.
This car's all right. I like the blue on it, and it's giving me like an ocean kind of vibe. I wish the whole car was blue and not just this white. I'm not sure why Colleague does that with their alternate cars, but I'll give this one a 7.
I have to agree with you. Like, I thought the car's pretty colorful, but like you said, it should have been all blue instead of having just the white part, the front part white. Like, we've mentioned this in other paint scheme reviews. When you do that, our ratings are going to be much lower for the car. And I just don't think it makes the car more appealing, even though it is appealing. It's pretty colorful, and it's more of like a 21st century like fish like animation, in my opinion. I will say it is pretty cool though, so I have to give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
And then next up, we have Chris Hacker's charredflags.com. I hear there's a rumor going around about Chris Hacker that he's kind of a bad person too, but we're not going to get into that completely because I'm not sure how true that is. But this car is okay, or this truck is okay. I'm not sure why Nice hired him because he was just a start and park. I like the wooden flag with the service members on the side. I'll give this one. I'll give it a 6.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I like the stripes and the detail they put on the side of the car. I don't really know much about Chris Hacker. The Las Vegas scheme, and I saw the post. Like, there's no comments on the post from what I can see on my computer, which is kind of weird. No one commented about it, but it had 174 likes. But I think it's pretty decent though. I have to give that like an 8 out of 10.
Next up is Grant Infinger's B-Laster scheme. This is okay. It kind of reminds me of Swan Racing's car. I don't mind it. I'll give it another 6. I like the red and the black and the yellow.
Yeah, the very end of the car looks like some bottles, and I like the red with it, the red and black, and there's some yellow with the words. I will say this isn't one of my favorite truck schemes this year, but it definitely is pretty cool. And the Carter Krogan says arguably the coolest scheme of the year. I will disagree with that, but I will say it is pretty cool, especially for their team. So I have to give that 7.5 out of 10.
And then next up is Justin Allgaier's Brandt Cup car. This is so boring, honestly. Like I was glad that Justin Allgaier won was not. Well, dang it, I messed up. I'm glad Justin Allgaier was in the race, but I don't like this scheme. I like his Xfinity car much better. I'll give this one like a 4.
Okay, so this car is so similar to his Xfinity, so I get why, with your point. I just don't really like it because it's not new, but I mean, I've always liked that scheme, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
No, it's like the Xfinity car is so much more different. Like I'll put the Xfinity car on the
It's
screen.
like one of his old Xfinity cars with that same.
Yeah, the first Xfinity car. I'm talking about like when right now, like what he's driving with JRM. I like that one so much better.
Yeah, I mean, I could see this one being something for like a throwback race, but for Talladega, it was just not really that good. Someone literally in the comment section said Justin Allgaier makes his Cup debut, and they said sarcasm edit. And then there's a bunch of people saying NASCAR historians are going to be all over you, which, I was about to say something too. Like, what? It's not his Cup debut. Nevertheless, I give this a 6 out of 10.
And then next up, we got BJ McLeod's NASCAR Ignition scheme. This car is all right. It's kind of simple with the black, but I also like the rainbow NASCAR logo thing with also this bronze here. It kind of gives me a throwback vibe. I'll give it a 5.
I have to agree with you. I like the rainbow and all that. It's not too great in my opinion, so I have to give that like a 5.5 out of 10.
And then next up, we have one of the most interesting sponsors I've seen, Azalea Gynecology. Okay, this one, This one's for breast cancer awareness, of course. That's why it's pink. I don't mind it. It's simple. I'll give it a 4.
You say all that and then say it's a 4. Okay, Mike, I see how it is. Anyways, I think this scheme's really good. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10.
Then next up, we have Blaine Perkins and Ryan Truex Circle B diecast schemes. This is basically the same scheme on different models. I don't mind it. I like the watercolor paint instead of just normal paint like what Plan B does or Circle B, whatever it is. I don't know why there's this random orange on a blue and black car on the side where the number is. But I'll give it a 6. I don't mind it. Blaine Perkins had a good race also.
I do not like the 23. I do not like this, Mike. I do not. The only thing that makes this Xfinity car interesting is the orange stripes. So the Xfinity car is literally like a 2 out of 10. And for the truck one looks a little better than Xfinity. I think the truck one a 3 out of 10. I just don't really like these, to be honest. It's not my taste.
And the next one we got is Kevin Harvick's Busch Light #Hunt for Busch. I like this one. This looks like Hunter's vest. I like the camo and I like the orange. This is what hunters wear. I really like it. I think they captured it great. 10 out of 10.
I have to agree with you, man. When I saw this car on the track, I was like, man, this is beautiful. It's a beautiful car. I don't want to say the same about the sponsor. But I will say that I love the camo. I love the orange. And it's really flashy. It's really cool. And it fits October hunting season coming up. So I have to give that a 10 out of 10 too.
And then next up we have Santino Ferrucci's Screaming Sicilian. This car is pretty cool actually. I like how the colors all mesh together. You got the red in the front and the white on the side, and then you got like a pizza in the back with some more red within the rear. I like it. I'll give it an 8.
First time I saw this when it was going around the track, I thought it was like a concession stand pizza company. No offense. I did not realize it was actually like a company with pizza. But I like, as you said, the pepperoni on the side of the car or towards the rear of the car. It's not a great scheme. I feel like they should have added more detail and more things to the hood. But I have to give that like a 7 out of 10.
And then next up we have Spencer Boyd's Rounded Gear. This is really boring. It's a very simple scheme. I think this is like a show truck, because if you look at the picture that I most likely have, the number is slanted forward. So I'm not sure why he slanted it forward, but I don't think it looked like that on the track. But overall, the scheme looks kind of boring. I'll give it like a 3.
I do not like this one. I am a Spencer Boyd fan. I did pick him to win Talladega, but he did not do well. Some of the comments, man, I'm telling you, one of them is how to get likes on a picture standing in front of a race truck with a slanted number noted. And then he replied with solid fist bump. And then some other people said trolling off NASCAR this morning. I don't hate it. Then there's some that are like, oh, these number placements are terrible, stuff like that. I do agree with your points. And the R is kind of just this giant red R on it. And the numbers placed a little bit more forwards. Even though I'm a Boyd fan, I have to give this like a 3 out of 10.
Christian, did it look like that on the track with the number slanted forward?
It was kind of, well, I don't think he ran this car. From what I saw, I didn't see this car at Talladega.
Oh, okay. Next up is Zane Smith's Hamsters USA Lifescape Children's Care. This is pretty cool. I don't mind it. Simple. I'll give it 6 out of 10 maybe.
I thought it was a decent car. It did end up getting destroyed, and I have a picture of that. I might send to you, Mike, but it's pretty decent, though. I will say I don't dislike it or like it a whole lot. They added a little bit. I like how they add more detail around the number and towards the very rear of the car. I have to give it like a 7 or 7.33 out of 10.
And then next up is Jeffrey Earnhardt's Asbrook Sarcosia scheme. What is this? It's
Absaroka?
It's so boring. Oh, hold on. First off, it's boring. It's like a whitish gray. I like the bull in the front. That's cool. Why is it yellow numbers? I guess because of the team that has Flex Seal, which is JD Motorsports, I believe.
Flex Seal.
I don't mind this drawing. I didn't notice the drawing on the back. It kind of looks like what you see when you're in jail. I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 10.
I was yawning and laughing at the same time. But yeah, like you said, it's just really odd. In the picture, it looks like there's no wing. You can't see the wing because the wing is like all white with the white background in the picture. It just makes it very hard to see. I have to give this like a 4 out of 10.
And finally, Alex Bowman for the Crown Ally Racing. This is for a soccer team, Charlotte Football Club.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. The colors look decent together, but because I'm a sucker for this blue on the back of the car, I wish the whole car was blue because it would work well with Ally. You could just put the white Ally logo with just this whole blue car, but instead Ally has to be cheap and still have the purple on the car. But it's not a bad car. Like, it's nothing that like I have to roast and make fun of, but it's a little disappointing. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Oh man, that's kind of low, Mike. I did see your comment, what you said on the post as well. You said the same thing. And it's for Charlotte Football Club, which, if I'm correct, is the MLS team, which is starting next year. So I really enjoy this scheme. I do think it's quite weird to have all blue at the end and then just purple in the front. Might not mix it together. And for the Crown, hashtag for the Crown. That's interesting to have on the side of the car. Because I'm from Charlotte, I live in Charlotte and all that, I have to give it a higher rating. And because, with Hendrick Motorsports, I try not to be biased, but I'm going to be biased here. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10.
Interesting. Someone says it's going to look worse or better with the pink window net. Make up your mind. All right, so let's get into the top 10. Christian, if you would like to explain the top 10.
Okay, so this week's top 10, it's back to crashes. It is the top 10 worst crashes at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And of course, none of these are fatal. These are from the different series across NASCAR. So starting off at number 10, this one is one that surprised. There's a couple on here that will surprise y'all. We'll go and say there's some that you think will be on the list, but are not. But at number 10, I have this wreck from the 1994 Winston Select Open. So roll the clip.
Drivers go on to the Winston Select.
Look at Kenny Frater go to the outside here, man. He is making a move towards the front.
Oh, Marcus!
Oh, easy.
No! On his roof, Chuck Bound.
Chuck Bound was up on his roof there for a second.
And comes sliding down the speedway. There are Michael Waltrip up in the wall on the outside. John Andretti is in it. That is the Melling car, number 9.
In the 1994 Winston Select Open, this wreck happened on lap number 2 and it collected about half the field. So for those that don't know, the Winston Select Open is basically what now is the race before the All-Star race. The driver, the winner, advances to the All-Star race, and the second place finisher does as well. And it's changed, the format's changed so much of the year, so it's hard to explain. But nevertheless, basically Dave Marcus got turned around in turn 1 and it triggered the wreck. We saw Michael Waltrip hit the wall very hard. He appeared to be in bad shape. He lay down on the ground and it looked pretty bad. Thankfully, he was all right. There was no serious injuries. Chuck Bound flipped over in this wreck, and it was just such a vicious looking wreck. So I feel like that deserved the number 10 spot. So moving on to number 9.
And in at number 9 is Landon Castle and Derek Cope in 2011 Sprint Showdown. Here's the clip.
Bobby Labonte got into the wall that lap.
Yeah, this track is just really, really slick, and we got trouble. Turn 1. The car. Oh, hard lick.
Landon Castle down to the bottom of the racetrack in Derek Cope's car.
He just wanted to go straight.
Cope heavily damaged and slides into the mud in the infield.
Right away.
Boy, that 64 car of Cope rammed into 09 of Castle. I mean, he just hit him running wide open. That was a big hit.
Look, though, Daryl, Landon Castle's when the net's down, that means Landon's okay, or was able to lower the net himself. And the main part of the contact was to that left rear tire area. You can see just ahead of the tire, the door was still in pretty good shape, but man, that was scary looking. Derek Cope didn't have anywhere to go.
No, it wasn't Derek's fault. It came right up in front of him. Castle came right up in front of him.
Now this happened back at about 22nd place, way deep in the field. Let's show you what happened.
I believe something happened to the 09 because you'll see him.
Look at there, left rear tire.
You see he's got the smoke and
that's the left rear tire.
Tires down,
pieces.
And he's sideways getting in the corner. And now just hang on here because this is going to get big and ugly.
Check out that camera angle. Great work, guys.
Now watch this thing when it goes back up the hill. Here you think he's going to stay down. You think he's going to stay down. Go high, go high, go high. One made it. Bam!
Oh,
One
what
didn't.
a lick in the driver's door. On our Fox Exmo Extreme Slow-Mo Cam, both drivers have climbed from their cars. They are both okay.
Look at that rear spring bouncing through the air.
But that's just that's an incredible hit to the left rear of the 09 car.
These cars are amazing. The way you can run into each other and walk away. We just said both drivers are out. They walked away. I can't believe it. What an impact.
So on lap 3, Landon got loose and was nailed almost directly in the driver's side by Derek. Both were racing to try to advance to the All-Star race, of course, but this wreck put them out of contention.
It's crazy, 2011. My best friend Tucker was at that race, and he saw it. It was right in front of him, too. And then Landon Castle in the 2011 Coca-Cola 600, I was there for that race, and Castle ended up wrecking in that race as well, and he went up in the air with a lot of grass. But moving on to number 8, we got Joe Nemechek's failed retaliation basically results in carnage and disaster. Roll the clip.
Joe Nemechek. This is big. This is a huge wreck. Oh, in comes Park. In comes Stewart. In comes Gordon. A major accident in the final segment. I think he'll be back.
No,
that right front wheel assembly is pointing halfway to Raleigh-Durham. These laps don't count.
So in this one, Steve Park basically bumped Joe Nemechek. It was a pretty aggressive move, and I feel like unnecessary move on the backstretch and just moved Joe out of the way. And then Joe Nemechek came back and basically wrecked him in turn 1, but also took out himself. Nowhere for Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon to go, and they wrecked into Park really hard. It was, a pretty vicious looking wreck as well.
And in at number 7 is Gene Glover and Dale Jarrett's hard wreck in 1980 Sportsman race. Here's the clip.
Back and forth. We've got trouble in the first turn. A bad accident. Gene Glover's number 71 car flipping end over end. The other car, Jarrett, car number 8. Jarrett unbuckling, now climbing out of his machine. No movement on Glover's car. And Jarrett is hurt. He falls to the ground, rolls over. Still no movement out of Glover's car. The fire crews are on the way, though there is no fire on either machine. That white vapor is steam coming out of Jarrett's engine, but he is now lying still on the ground. Gene Glover, we can just barely see, is moving around in his car. The fire crews are there. One of them is talking with Glover. He's apparently all right but shaken up. But Jarrett is lying on the ground. He's not moving a great deal. He might be seriously hurt. His car appeared to just center punch Glover's spinning race car. An incredible accident down between the first and second turn here at Charlotte. Looking at it one more time, there is Glover. He is spinning, and Jarrett just hits him right square center in the back of the car. Now Glover goes upside down once, continues rolling upside down a second time. Jarrett's car is just slowly sliding along the racetrack. A pirouette out of Glover's car, a third time upside down. It's going over again and again the 5th time upside down, and finally rolls to a stop right side up. Both drivers badly shaken up.
So Jarrett ended up breaking his leg in the awful crash and would be out for 6 months. Glover had minor injuries, but none that were sustainable.
You don't really see many wrecks like this one. It was quite shocking when I saw this wreck on YouTube for the first time. About last year was when I saw the clip, and I ended up reposting it. When you run into the back of somebody, you don't think you would be the one flipping. But for Jared, that wasn't the case. So anyways, moving on to number 6, we got Johnny Benson's scary crash in the 1996 Coca-Cola 600. Roll the clip.
Dale Jarrett and Jeff Gordon at it. We got a wreck in turn 2. Oh, and a terrible wreck. One car is absolutely disintegrated as Johnny Benson clobbered a car coming down off, and Ricky Craven has been caught up in it. But another car was absolutely destroyed. It may have been that number 41. Oh, it's Craven. In just a moment, it's going to start to descend across the track. It's down off the 24-degree banking at about maybe 14, 15 degrees, and here it comes. And Craven didn't take it full. He took it on the side of the car and then slid up the track.
Ken, as bad as that was, it could have been much worse.
Much
That
worse.
tank done its job. It did not.
So in the 1996 Coke 600, this race took place on May the 26th, and it was race 11th of the season. On lap 194, Johnny Benson spun out. He came back across the track in his 30 Pennzoil Chevy, or if I'm correct, it was a Chevy. Nevertheless, he ended up getting ran into really hard by Ricky Craven. You just see sheet metal and just debris just flying everywhere. It was pretty scary looking wreck for sure, but thankfully they were all right, and I feel like this one deserved the number 6 spot.
And at number 5 is Davey Allison wrecking and winning in the 1992 Winston. Here's the clip.
Finish, everybody was waiting for it. They crashed past the finish line. They have crashed into turn number 1. And Davey Allison is in a shower of sparks.
He won the race, but he sure paid the...
This one, I believe he was racing with Dale Earnhardt, if I'm correct, and he just got wrecked, and that's what happens. He won the race still, so worth it.
Yeah, we covered this one earlier this season. It was in the top 10 All-Star race moments. Basically, Kyle Petty spun out Dale Earnhardt in the final turns. Davey Allison got underneath, and then Davey Allison hit the wall across the line after making contact with Kyle Petty. Allison did get hurt. I don't remember what his exact injuries are off the top of my head, but I know he got hurt and he had to get taken to the hospital. His car ended up in victory lane, which we ended up talking about that last week. Or either that or 2 weeks ago, we talked about how Allison's one of the only drivers to not do or show up to victory lane after the race. But his car was there. So moving on to number 4. Number 4, we have no videos of this wreck. There's only pictures, which I sent to you, Mike, and it will go up on the screen. And this one was Lenny Page and Don O'Dell's crash in 1960. Roll the clip or show the pictures. Anyways, I feel like this is one of the most forgotten wrecks in NASCAR history because it just people don't really know much about the story behind it, and the story behind it is quite interesting. So basically, Lenny Page crashed really hard. This is back when they didn't have walls. They basically had a fence around the track. He almost went outside track. He shot back across and got hit. He got hit in the door by Don O'Dell. And Chris Economiki, if that's how you say his name, he was a photojournalist covering the race for National Speedway Sports News. he ran to the car and administered emergency aid to Page before the ambulance crew was able to get there. Basically, he was credited with saving his life. According to what I could find, it was Page's 20th and final NASCAR Grand National start. So I didn't really find much info about Page other than that, and he's from Buffalo, New York. But basically, Chris, he would ended up becoming an American sports commentator. He would also be a pit road reporter and continue working in journalism. He would get inducted to the Motorsports Hall of Fame, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Hall of Fame. A lot of people don't really know about that wreck, but I feel like that was pretty severe and should be at number 4 spot.
In at number 3 is Mike Skinner going airborne in the 2009 truck race there.
1 and 2. Sideways and spinning through the grass. And back out onto the racetrack in front of a few trucks.
Oh, Skinner gets clobbered. Skinner gets hit hard down into turn 1.
On his side is Mike Skinner, back on the wheels now. He got hit very hard.
He was, I'm okay. He got turned around after Malsom spun off 4. I just happened to be watching it. He was sliding backwards, went up in the middle of the racetrack, and got clobbered from behind. But we heard him say he's all right.
Yeah, that was great news. Yeah. And that was Mike Skinner himself saying, I'm all right. Adam 18 of Johnny Sauter. Oh, Sauter pinches him a little bit low. Pinches him into the grass. Now watch this.
There's a white truck that clobbers him. Watch this.
Right there. Very hard hit. Got completely underneath that 5. Hard hit. Is that TJ Bell?
Occurred on the front stretch as Mike Skinner got turned back across traffic and was hit by TJ Bell. His truck almost flipped over as it went on its side and caught a flame. Skinner was not hurt, luckily.
I remember watching this race and it quite surprised me because you don't really see many cars flip at Charlotte. And especially for a truck series, it was just such a hard impact, and the way the car just twists in the air is very video game-like. It was quite surprising. But moving on to number 2, we got this huge crash on the restart in the 1994 Busch Series race at Charlotte. Roll the clip.
Go every which way.
On the brake.
Oh, there they go. Somebody hit on in the wall.
Again, a big crash going down to the corner. 5, 6. A hard one on the restart going into turn number 1. Tears up. It looks like at least 10 cars.
So this wreck happened on lap 46 of the 1994 Champion 300 in the Busch Series race. And I actually came across this when I was looking for crashes to put on this list. I'd never seen this wreck before, and it quite surprised me. There were so many hard hits in this wreck. And it looked just really awful, I will say. This car is hitting the inside wall really hard, hitting the outside wall really hard. It was just like at least a dozen cars involved in this wreck. Some of the guys involved were Dale Jarrett, Derek Cope, Bobby Labonte, Tracy Leslie, and Chad Little, and there's a couple other ones. Couldn't really find much info about this wreck. I don't think anyone was injured in it, and I know that Bill Parsons won this race by 10 seconds, in fact, over Mark Martin.
And speaking of Mark Martin, in at number 1 is his hard impact after J.J. Yeley's bad mistake. Here's the clip.
Got a crash.
Ooh, hard. Mark Martin hard in the wall. Robbie Gordon involved. Yeley involved. Oh, man. Well, it looks like Yeley decided to come down into pit lane and didn't let everybody behind him know. And I mean, took out 2 good race cars.
In the 2006 Bank of America 500, Mark was contending for a great finish and JJ made literally one of the worst moves in NASCAR history. On lap 239, Yeley was pitting but forgot to let other drivers know and slowed heavily while turning down on the track. Mark was going almost full speed and was clipped and nailed the wall at a horrific angle. The 6 almost flipped over off turn 4, and the 8th caution of the race flew. Robbie Gordon lost control and hit JJ. Mark was shaken but unhurt.
Yeah, this wreck, in my opinion, is one of the hardest hits I've ever seen. And it could have been much worse without the safety innovations that we've had over the years. Like, it could have been way, way worse. And, JJ should have been suspended for that. I don't think he was. He wasn't parked either, I don't think. It was just very stupid move by JJ Yeley. And it just shows you should let drivers know when you're pitting. You should just cut across the track like that, at least put your hand out the window, go underneath the apron. And Mark just had no other choice. And it was just so horrible.
That sounds like something Quinn Houff would do.
I mean, yeah.
We've seen him do that before where he pit from the high lane.
I think nobody could argue that it was a very poor decision. Yeah, and yes, we do review every incident, of every race. We didn't speak to the driver.
It's like that one thing from the Family Guy. Okay, let me turn now. Good luck, everybody else.
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lane? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody else.
You know what I'm saying? One of those moments.
One of the funniest Family Guy scenes. So yeah, let's pick for the Charlotte Roval. I'm gonna go ahead first off with the Xfinity Series. I'm gonna say AJ Allmendinger wins this race. Of course, he's the road course king.
That's a good pick. He's been really good there. I won't be there this weekend, even though it is my hometown, or not really my hometown, but I live in Charlotte. I'm not going to be able to go to these races this weekend. I will watch the Cup race, but it's just really hard to choose for me. Like AJ, he's won there before. He won there last year, and if I'm correct, it was raining in last year's race. Yes. It was just rain fest. It was quite interesting to watch. But I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to go with Austin Cindric.
Interesting. So moving on to the Cup race, final race of the round 12. I'm going to go with Chase Elliott. I think he's going to clutch up, get his third victory in a row at the Roval. It should be a pretty interesting race. I was looking at it. William Byron seems to have a decent shot. Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., they also got good shots. So hopefully it's a good race. I'm lucky that I'm able to watch it. At first I thought I wasn't going to be able to, but now I am. So great. But with that will conclude this week's episode.
I didn't get to say my pick, Mike. Come on now.
Whoopsie. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, my pick for the Cup race. Well, with the Roval, it's one of my favorite tracks. And it's pretty cool to have two great races back to back. We got Talladega, then we got the Roval. And we've seen exciting races at the Roval. I will say, though, that I have this guy winning 2 races in a row this weekend and the next weekend. I'm going to pick Kyle Larson to win this race. I will say that there'll probably be a couple wrecks in this one, but I feel like there's not going to be a whole lot because more people are used to it over especially since they first started racing there. There's been less wrecks every season at that track, and they're more used to it. So it's not going to be as much wrecks as people expect. I do think that Kevin Harvick, I predicted Harvick to miss the next round. Same thing as Byron and Bell. And yeah, I feel like the drivers that are going to advance to the next round are Kyle Busch, Larson, Brian Keselowski, Truex Jr., Elliott, Hamlin, Logano, and Blaney. And Blaney, because I feel like Blaney would be a dark horse pick because Blaney won the first race there. Blaney's been really good at this track, and he was really good at Talladega too. So I feel like Blaney could be someone that could possibly win this. Chase Briscoe, he surprised us at the Indianapolis road course. It'd be cool to see Briscoe get a win too. So that's my picks for this weekend and our picks.
All right. And with that will conclude this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our Instagrams, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Oh, yeah, by the way, subscribe to our sports podcast. Peace.
Peace.